Man, I knew something was up about that last episode, because, like I said, freaking last week, calm before the storm, and storm is, it's here, for the most part. Alright, how's everyone doing today, guys? My name's T Codes, and this is The Bad Batch. This is episode 14, War-Mantle, and majority of this episode is pretty, it's pretty standard, pretty Bad Batch standard up to this point, but the ending is where, we head into the oh boy. So, okay. This whole episode is, I guess it really did feel standard for me up to this point. I mean, they've even referenced other versions of this episode, and the basic rundown of this episode is someone gets captured and they have to go rescue him. Odds are stacked against them. In the end, they succeed. Just in this particular rescue mission, someone gets left behind. And yeah, okay. Let's just talk about this episode. So, the whole thing starts on this unoccupied planet. I think that's what they said, where for some reason there's clone troopers there, as there's one that's on the run from the Empire, but unfortunately they're run down. But luckily, before they got captured, they left these trackers, so that way anyone who picks up the signal can at least get a good idea where they are. And so for the Bad Batch, it's not them that gets the signal, it's actually Rex who gets the signal, and Rex unfortunately can't rescue this particular clone at the moment, so he calls up the Bad Batch and asks if they can do it. And even though they themselves are in the middle of a job, they talk it over and they agree that they're going to go get this one clone, who is Gregor from Star Wars Rebels. And I was really happy to see Gregor back in this, because, Gregor was in Clone Wars. We saw him grow a little as a character, as a commando trooper, and then we know where he goes in Rebels. So I guess it really was interesting to see where he went from Clone Wars to Rebels. So Bad Batch gives us a little bit of an idea of what happened. And so for the team, they at first aren't entirely sure, wait, why is Gregor on this planet? Like, there's no Imperial here. What is this? And then that's kind of when they discover there's a secret base here. And it gets a little interesting too, because we get to see all the captains here are also commando troopers. So it's really cool to see to start, it's cool to see all these clones that just have the special helmets, the ones where they actually lit up with a little light blue color. Those look really cool, especially with this animation. Like, I just wish we had the colors, like in Clone Wars, because in here it's all white, so I guess it would have been really cool to see just them in this new, with the new animation, or just how much the animation improved up to this point, I should say. Just cool modifications to their armor would have been awesome, because, again, the glowing visor was cool enough. But, yeah, so the Bad Batch, they go in, they discover this is an Imperial base. Unfortunately for them, it seems to be a very difficult Imperial base, because it's like one of those districts on Coruscant, like 1313. It's just one of those ones you ascend into, and so they think, this is gonna get a little difficult. We don't know what we're gonna be doing. We're going in completely blind. But then Echo even brings up, like, hey, hang on a second, remember when you guys rescued me? Like, that seems to be odds stacked against you. All of that, and I wish they brought up the fact that they had a Jedi with them. That probably would have been hilarious. Just be like, Just be like, you guys broke in, and you guys broke into this highly efficient separatist base and you didn't worry about this. And I was waiting for Tech or Hunter to say, yeah, but that was because we had a Jedi with us. We don't have a Jedi here with us. And also Wrecker and Omega, they're staying behind on the ship as backup, which makes sense, but again, I don't know, what's funny about this episode, and I guess I can kind of thank Rebels for this, is because Rebels made it more obvious what was going to happen in each episode. And I think that was because it was aimed more, it appeared on Disney, so it kind of aimed more towards younger audiences, whereas Clone Wars was definitely more for the older kids and stuff like that. So this is definitely your middle ground in terms of like kids stuff. And the reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot of things that they just do in this. They don't like go too deep into it. They don't talk about it. They don't make it a lesson that reflects at the end, all of that, like this is really just, we're doing this, we gotta get through it, and this is what our outcome will be. It's like, it's never really like, oh, we're gonna talk about something at the beginning that's gonna reflect what happens at the end, all that. Makes sense though, because that's not how it always works. I mean, granted, yes, it's a kid's show, so might want to teach a few lessons here and there. But here in this episode especially, this is a really straight to the point bulk episode that they just gotta get out. And makes sense because, again, it's a rescue mission. You gotta go in, you can't let really a lot of things distract you, and they're taking risks. As we've mentioned before, this is a new base, they have no idea what the heck is going on. They just see all these commando troopers leading what appears to be another new set of clones that have modified armor, and it doesn't look like stormtroopers just yet, it's like we're getting there. Oh, and completely forgot to mention, all the while on Kamino, you have the Kaminos, they're relocating. They're planning to relocate, and of course, obviously for them, they're just obviously being like, okay, the Empire is not cooperating with us, so we gotta get the H out of, we gotta get the hell out of Dodge. But it's pretty just much saying like, oh, this is going on, go back to this. Like, we only get, I want to say, like 3 scenes with them, so it's really not that big of a factor in this episode in terms of like what's going on. The really only connection is Crosshair, because he's on Kamino and then he ends on the planet that these guys are on, that the Bad Batch is on. But, I mean, obviously, we have 2 episodes after this, so who knows what's gonna happen with Kamino. But by the sounds of it, you know how the Empire works. But, okay, so back to the rescue mission. Yeah, so Tech, Hunter, and Echo, they go in to save Gregor, and I freaking miss Gregor, man. Gregor was definitely one of my favorite characters in Rebels in terms of like comedic relief, because one, he was very crazy and fun in Rebels, and 2, it's just D. Bradley Baker just having a ball. I mean, he's having a ball all the time, just I can tell with these voice actors, but when he's really allowed to be funny, just do his own voice, like with Wrecker, he has fun with it. Like, I love Gregor in this because you do hear the voice that he has in Rebels, and you just hear it here. And of course, it's what he had in Clone Wars too. But here, it's like you get to see him with the standard clone, with the clone look. He's got, he lost some of his armor, and he's just being just funny, really. Like there's this one scene where a trooper comes in and he's like, traitor, and then Gregor's like, that's Captain Traitor to you. I can't do a good Gregor impression, sorry, but it's pretty funny, and it's just nice to see Gregor again. And I'm really hoping if we get to see Wolf too, because we know that's the 2 That's the other clone trooper that Rex is with when we meet him up in Rebels. You know, he's with Gregor and Wolf. It'd be cool if we got to see Wolf at some point, but if we don't, I won't be too mad. But yeah, so Hunter, Tech, Echo, they rescue Gregor, and they think it's just going to be the standard, oh, we'll just get out, we don't have to worry about anything, but as Gregor informs them, this isn't just any regular base, this is a pretty highly sophisticated Imperial base, and I'll admit, I was getting some Death Star vibes out of this base, especially with how Gregor was talking about, oh, well, these aren't clone troopers that are here, these are regular people, these are soldiers, there's loyalty to the Empire, they have a unlimited supply of them, and so, and there's even a joke where Hunter's like, or Tech was like, well, numbers aren't everything, and there's, like, they're in the elevator when they're talking about this, and so, yeah, Tech's like, numbers aren't everything, they open the door, and there's literally a whole group, there's a whole platoon right there, so there's, like, again, the jokes, there are a lot of funny jokes, and there are the few where it's like, oh, I'm sure blank isn't gonna happen, and then blank happens, so like, numbers aren't everything, except when you have an entire army right there. Oh, I'm sure the team is doing fine, cut to them being chased by the army. It's like, it's the repetition of it. I mean, I've seen countless TV shows, countless movies, played countless video games where jokes like that are always there. So it is still funny, but it's just, you know, the more times you hear it, the more it's like, okay, it's getting standard. But yeah, so Echo, Hunter, Wolf, and Gregor, you know, they're fighting these troopers, and again, one thing I definitely noticed, and they've been doing this the whole time, but every time they're fighting troopers, they're stunning them. They're not killing them, they're stunning them, which for them makes sense, especially with clones. You know, it's like, well, because they're just like them. They're just following orders. And for these people, they're people. It's like, yeah, we're just going to be stunning them, and we're going to just do our thing until, you know, Wrecker shows up, or it gets pretty intense, and we just got to be like, all right, fine, live ammo. It's kind of crazy how this whole episode goes down, especially with the commandos. Like, those guys, I think we see two of them die. One of them dies, or no, one of them gets knocked out. The other one gets killed by his own troopers, and that was by accident, because when they're able to escape, they go out this exhaust port that leads out to the side of a mountain, so they have to call Wrecker and Omega to fly him in and get him out, and they go, but unfortunately for them, they were followed, so you have all the troopers coming in, you have ships flying in, ready to take him out, and so Omega and Wrecker, at first, they can only get Tech on, so Tech is able to outmaneuver all the ships, get back towards Echo, Hunter, and Gregor, and there's the commando trooper that tries to get them, but unfortunately he gets caught in the crossfire, and he literally just gets riddled with blasters and falls off the side of the cliff, and it's like, okay. And then Gregor and Echo are able to get on safely, but then unfortunately for Hunter, he doesn't. Like, he tries, like, the ship starts falling down, Hunter tries to land on it, he does, but then unfortunately his momentum causes him to fall off the ship. He falls down the mountain, and he unfortunately gets captured, and he tells the team to get out of there, don't worry about him, he'll find another way, all that, yada yada yada. And yeah, man, this episode again, it's a fun episode until you get to that point where Hunter gets captured. That's when you realize, oh, we are entering the final 2 episodes. Yeah, this is, I mean, I like this episode. I thought it was a great episode. I mean, again, it's just up to this point, you know, we've seen this routine done, but, you know, we get to see a little bit of a difference. Like, well, what kind of base we're infiltrating? Who we're trying to rescue? How are we going to get out? What are the odds against us? What kind of lore are we going to get in this episode? And so we get all that. And it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so Hunter gets captured. and he gets thrown into a cell where he finds Crosshair, and he's like, I was expecting the whole team, but you'll do. So it's like, you get that little moment there between them, and I don't know what to think of Crosshairs right now. I mean, we've seen him determined to capture these guys, so we'll see what happens in the next 2 episodes with Crosshairs. And also, we get our final scene on Camino, where it's not the Prime Minister that gets caught, it's the scientist who gets caught. You know, the one that let the team escape, you know, has been secretly helping Omega. She gets caught, but unfortunately for her and for the Prime Minister, Rampart's like, you, a scientist I need, a Prime Minister I don't. So it's like, 2 episodes left. 2 episodes left. This is fun. This is, especially looking back to what the first episode was, we've definitely come a long way. But I did like how that wasn't laid out. Like, really, probably the most subtle way they did it in this was how, you know, Hunter, at the beginning, Hunter is just playing with his dagger, or his knife. And Omega, you know, she's fixing the gunk droid, Gunker, and she, like, looks at her tool, and she, you know, she tries to do that. She tries to try to spin her tool around and all that. It's, like, very subtle, and it's, in my opinion, that's, like, thinking, just, you're in that moment, you're thinking, oh, look, she's trying to learn from Hunter. Man, think about how far they've come. It's, like, little subtlety. It's not like, man, just to think, like, oh, ever long ago, we just rescued you. Now look where we are. It's like if you spilled it, if you just laid it out like that, it would have been like, okay, what's gonna happen? But no, it's very subtle. It's very okay, and you really don't feel like anything too bad's gonna happen until the end. Then it's like, oh no, we're in trouble. So yeah. All right, yeah, that's all I got for this one. So. We got 2 episodes left. Let's see what's going to happen. With all that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to leave a comment, leave a comment. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. You don't have to. I'm just saying. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.